James woke up to the familiar sound of his alarm clock. The red numbers glowed 6:30 a.m., and sunlight crept through the blinds. He stretched, yawned, and reached for his phone on the nightstand. The wallpaper was different. Instead of a picture of his dog, there was a photograph of a woman he didn't recognize, smiling and holding his arm. James sat up straight. The room looked like his. Same wooden desk, same faded curtains, but something felt off. The books on the shelf were arranged differently. A framed diploma hung on the wall, except it wasn't from his university. It bore a name he didn't remember attending. He stumbled to the mirror. The reflection was his. Same dark hair, same tired eyes. Yet on his left wrist was a watch he didn't own. Trying to shake off the unease, he left the bedroom. The apartment was spotless, unlike the messy one he remembered. A pot of coffee brewed automatically in the kitchen. A second coffee mug sat next to it, half full as if someone had already been here. Then a voice. "Morning, honey." James froze. A woman stepped out of the bathroom, towel wrapped around her hair. It was the same woman from the photo. She kissed his cheek as though they'd done it 1,000 times. "You slept in. Don't forget you have that big meeting today." "Meeting?" James tried to speak but only stammered. Right, of course." He played along, pretending to know her. She handed him a neatly pressed suit he had never owned. "I'll see you tonight," she said. "We'll celebrate." James left the apartment heart pounding. The street outside was familiar, yet not the same. Stores bore names he'd never seen. Cars were sleeker, quieter, almost futuristic. People walked past him without a second glance. At the office building she had pointed him to, the receptionist greeted him by name, "Mr. Carter." James wasn't Carter. But when he looked at his ID badge, it said, "James Carter, Senior Director." Inside, colleagues shook his hand, congratulating him on some project he couldn't recall. He nodded, smiled, and sat through meetings he barely understood. Every screen displayed graphs and technologies that felt 10 years ahead of his time. By evening, he returned home. The woman greeted him warmly, made dinner, and talked about their upcoming vacation. James nodded silently, trying not to reveal his confusion. That night, lying beside her, he whispered into the dark, "This isn't my life." Days turned into weeks. Each morning, James hoped he'd wake up back in his messy apartment with his dog barking and his old phone wallpaper waiting. Instead, he woke in this polished world, with a successful career and a woman who loved him. At first, he resisted. He wrote notes to himself, "This isn't real. Don't forget your real life." But as time passed, he found himself laughing at her jokes, enjoying the taste of the food she cooked, feeling proud of the projects at work, even if he didn't understand how he got there. One evening while walking home, James spotted a stray dog that looked exactly like his own from the other life. The dog barked at him, wagging its tail as if it recognized him. James knelt down, tears in his eyes, and whispered, "Do you know me? Do you remember?" The dog barked once, then ran off into the crowd. James stood frozen, torn between chasing after it and returning to the warm light of his apartment. When he arrived home, the woman was waiting with candles lit and dinner ready. She smiled at him, eyes full of love. And for the first time, James smiled back, not out of fear, but out of something deeper. He realized the truth. Maybe this world wasn't his. Maybe he'd never know how he got here, or if he'd ever return. But perhaps this world had chosen him. That night, James put away the notes he had been writing. He no longer whispered about the old life. Instead, he kissed the woman goodnight and held her hand until sleep carried him away. And somewhere in another universe, a different James woke up in an empty apartment, searching for the love he could no longer remember.